millennium. Time we come together and start to build our small nation. But we have to face the reality of some of the problems we have now affecting we. Double standard killing the whole country, while some preaching division and
it's always a better choice. 9-1 and only station.
DBS Radio.
Fair and balanced, unbiased and clear, concise and accurate. This is the DBS Evening News. Here now is your presenter with the headlines.
In the headlines, Opposition Senator Delbert Paris has written to the chairman of the Electoral Commission for the immediate revocation of statutory rule and order to protect citizens' right to vote. In the news from the region, 4 Guyanese nationals feared dead after fishing boat sinks in Suriname. Internationally, France's former president Nicolas Sarkozy proclaims his innocence as he begins a 5-year prison term. The details of these stories and more coming up next.
Yo, what's up?
baby, let's go!
Turn your TV on. Listen to DBS on Digital TV Channel 50 and Flow TV Channel 951.
DBS News.
And welcome back. Opposition Senator Delbert Paris disclosed today that he has written to the chairman of the Electoral Commission calling for the immediate revocation of all statutory rule and order number 39 of 2025 to protect citizens' rights to vote. Paris says this new regulation confines acceptable ID to a passport, driver's license, or social security card, effectively denying thousands of Dominican citizens of their constitutional right to vote. Senator Paris stated that many elderly citizens and persons of limited means who are required to confirm their registration to remain on the voters list do not possess these ID forms. The opposition senator said under the regulation of Electors Act 2025, before the introduction of this particular SRO, citizens could register or confirm their registration using a birth certificate, an affidavit of identity, and a passport-size photograph certified by a justice of peace or notary public. He noted that the system was fair, inclusive, and consistent with the spirit of universal adult suffrage guaranteed by the Constitution. He called on the Commission to act without delay to revoke SRO number 39 of 2025 and to restore the previous accessible identification procedures. The process of voter confirmation began on October 15, 2025. Still in the national focus, Minister responsible for national security, Reuben Blackmore, is reporting success with the implementation of night court at the Roseau Magistrates Court. Night court came into effect in September 2025 to address a backlog in the court system.
As you know, that we are taking a decision, a policy decision, supported by an order issued by the minister, which is provided for under Section 7.1 of the appropriate act that speaks to the magistrate Code of Procedure, and has given the minister the authority to issue an order and to set the time and place for the holding of court. I want to just place on the record my appreciation for the work that has been done so far in that area. All the parties that have been actually working together, the magistrates and the staff, and the police for providing security and other support that we need for the night court to operate. And the lawyers. I have been to the night court on 3 occasions, and I was very happy and elated to have seen lawyers present, dressed in a nice suit, representing the clients, etc. Insofar as to we have been able to do some evaluation as to how effective the night court has been so far. And I want to report to the public, so far 171 matters have been heard, and 26 matters have been disposed of.
Meantime, Mr. Blackmore has responded to concerns of the Dominica Bar Association over the sitting of night court at the Roseau Magistrates Court.
Well, going forward, I believe there is a need for continued consultation of the Bar Association and other relevant stakeholders. I had a meeting with the executive of the Bar Association, and we spoke about how can we mend, but not bend, the process, because at the end of the day, anything that has been done that will allow for greater utility of the court of course, is a plus insofar as access to justice is concerned. Isn't that so? And it lends to the magistrate court being better able to execute its core fundamental function, which is to actually ensure that grievances and disputes can be disposed of in the interest of the state. There are a number of issues, of course, we have to take into consideration as we go forward. Some of the issues, of course, that have been actually highlighted by the Bar Association can be dealt with insofar as case management is concerned, and how the cases are scheduled. If you have peculiar situations, you may have a situation whereby a lawyer has a client, the client is an elderly person. I think in the scheduling of the matters, of course, the court administrator should be sensitive to that. So, and to have also, fundamentally, what we call strata hearing, where the parties can meet and to decide on times for matters to be heard.
Minister for National Security, Reuben Blackmore. Top performers in the academics, sports and community development will be highlighted of this year's Northern Schools Rally. So they will be the highlight of this year's Northern Schools Rally. 15 schools within the Northern District will be on full display when the rally convenes on Thursday at 8:30 a.m. at Benjamin's Park in Portsmouth. Clerk for the Portsmouth Town Council is Lucretia Wallace.
15 schools from across the north proudly come together in celebration of our nation's 47th year of independence. Your host, Mr. Nabi Wallace and Ms. Luan Mitchell will guide us through a vibrant morning of pride, culture, and youth excellence, featuring our guest speaker, Ms. Monel Alexis, along with government officials and special guests. With 3 exciting categories, leadership, academics, and sports, this year, we are thrilled to introduce a brand new Top Performers Award in sports and academics. Let's not forget our community awards, recognizing outstanding achievements in business, education, sports, and more.
Clerk for the Portsmouth Town Council, Lucretia Wallace. A record 45 artists are online for the 25th edition of the World Creole Music Festival. The event opens on Friday evening at Windsor Park Stadium. Communications specialist at the Discover Dominica Authority, Monel Alexis, says the lineup of artists for each evening is extremely attractive.
Friday, October 24th, the lineup looks like this, in random order. Masika, Burning Flames, Gil Fountain, Halibut, Oswald, New Look, Midnight Groovers, Still Pulse, Romaine Virgo, TK International, and Ezra the Fun Machine. Saturday, October 25th, night number 2. On the lineup, random order, Vibes Cartel, Spice, Joe Duet Filet, Kess the Band, WCK, Gordon Henderson, Ophelia Marie, Linford John, Asa Bantan, First Serenade, Roy, Ridge, Pudas, Kenny G, Faithy, Shanika, Ebony Empress, DJ MG, Little Boy, Kwan, and Jigsells. Sunday, October 26th, night number 3 of the World Creole Music Festival. The lineup looks like this, random order. Kelani, Bunji Garlin, Fayan Lyons, Tiwa Savage, Kassav, Ecstasy Band, Mikel Henderson, Elijah Benoit, Trilogy, Nice, Rio, and the Signal Band.
Communications specialist at the Discover Dominica Authority, Monel Alexis. HHV Whitchurch and Company Limited representative Desma Patrick says the ferry service FRX Express Diesel is back in operation. She says FRS Express Diesel is expected to transport thousands to and from Dominica for the independence celebration.
We must mention our ferry service FRS Express Diesel. While we have experienced some challenges earlier, we are pleased to reassure everyone that the service is fully up and running once again. In fact, FRS Express has already resumed multiple sailings between Dominica and our neighboring islands, Guadeloupe, Martinique, and St. Lucia, bringing visitors, returning nationals, and festival lovers safely to our shores just in time for this grand celebration. And as the World Creole Music Festival celebrates its 25th year, we are honored to once again stand proudly with Dominicans to celebrate our music, our culture, and our spirit.
HHV Whitchurch and Company Limited Representative Desma Patrick. Assistant Commissioner of Police Alan Maxime says the Dominica Police Force will adopt a zero-tolerance approach towards anyone who breaks the laws of Dominica during the festive season. He made the announcement at the press conference for the World Creole Music Festival this morning.
The Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force is ready to perform its role at this year's World Creole Music Festival. We are ready to perform our duties. All plans are in place to ensure that patrons of the festival enjoy themselves in a safe environment. As a consequence of this, people are expected to see an increased presence of the police in uniform and plainclothes in the city of Roseau and environs. Make it clear that we will not tolerate, the police will not tolerate any transgressions as it pertains to the laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica. You can be assured that anyone who disturbs the peace and breaches the law during these activities will be dealt with to the full extent of the law.
Assistant Commissioner of Police Alan Maxime. Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Kent Edwards, says a 2-day training workshop on the prevention and management of sexually transmitted infections is timely. The training workshop at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital got underway on Monday and is supported by the UN, FBA and UN Women and Global Affairs Canada.
This training comes at a critical time as Dominica continues to strengthen its capacity for disease prevention, early detection and management of STIs, including those that can significantly impact reproductive health outcomes. We recognize that STIs prevention and management are not merely clinical priorities, they are also public health, social and development imperatives. They intersect with issues of access, stigma, gender inequality, and adolescent and sexual health, all of which influence our collaborative ability to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly Goals 3 on health and wellness and well-being and Goal 5 on gender equality. Through this initiative, we are not only investing in professional development of healthcare providers, but also enhancing the quality and accessibility of sexual and reproductive health services across the health system, ensuring that women, men, and young people receive informed, respectful, and right-based care.
He says the handing over of sexual and reproductive health commodities to the government of Dominica will help empower Dominican women.
Today's ceremonial handover of intrauterine devices and implants represents a tangible investment in the well-being of Dominican women and families. These commodities procured under the Build Back Equal project will expand contraceptive options for women and support the ministry's ongoing efforts to reduce unintended pregnancies and promote reproductive autonomy. We view this as part of a broader national commitment to strengthening family planning, empowering women to make informed choices, and ensuring equitable access to modern contraception for all who need it without discrimination or stigma. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and Social Services remains fully committed to advancing sexual and reproductive health as a key pillar of national development. We acknowledge that this requires sustained collaboration among government, development partners, and civil society, and we deeply value the role that UNFPA continues to play in that journey.
Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Kent Edwards. Festival and Events Manager at Discover Dominica Authority, Ayodele Andrew, says her team is ready to stage the biggest World Creole Music Festival ever. The October 24th to 26th event marks the 25th edition of the festival, and a record 45 artists will perform. Andrew was a guest on the special 25 in 25 World Creole Music Festival program on DBS Radio last night.
Well, as you all know, this year we have 45 artists on the lineup. This year we've expanded the crew because this year the festival is much grander. We are working within the same time frames that we have worked with. That's what we're doing. What we're doing is starting earlier So gates open earlier. So on Friday, the gates open at 6. On Saturday, we open at 5. And every day, the show will start earlier. And I think a lot of people do not know the magnitude of work that the small team at DDA executes all year round, not just for the festival. Our CEO, Miss Marva Williams, who was once the festival and events manager herself, she has empirical knowledge of this festival, and that she shares with the team every day and keeps guiding us. So I do think this festival in particular, the festival experience, not just the production, this festival in particular, the experience is going to be one of the greatest, as it deserves, for 25 years for Dominica. We've been communicating with our vendors and our service providers. I guarantee you, even as a Dominican who's here, you're going to see and feel and live through a great experience for the festival.
Festival and Events Manager at Discover Dominica Authority, Ayode Leandro. Meantime, Creole and Cultural Ambassador Leroy Wadix Charles says he has some reservations about certain aspects of the festival, but endorsed the event.
Okay, firstly, I want to say the festival, again, is one of the best platforms for musicians, artists, musical technocrats, and I think it is one of the best activities, events for Dominicans and for Dominica by extension. I am disappointed in the fact that the language was left behind. I believe if the authorities had continued the thrust at the beginning of the language, with the educational component, I think more people would be involved in the language now, because we already had the infrastructure where the Franco Islands were already part of the World Federation of Cultures and the headquarters in Dominica. Secondly, I believe we have to maintain standards for our Dominican artists to emulate. If you just look at the Signal issue, Signal started at the forecourt and eventually moved to the big stage and see where they are. I don't think anybody should be on the big stage. I believe they should work to get there. So that means we should have a criteria to reach there. I don't think you should just come out with one song and all of a sudden, because you have several thousand likes, that you end up there. I think there should be a criteria, a standard criteria to maintain the standard, because the bands that have been on the festival have maintained a standard when you look at the showmanship.
He says a training for Dominican engineers and a payment or permanent venue. So he says a training for Dominican engineers and a permanent venue for festivals should be pursued.
We have gotten better. We have gotten closer to the other bands, but I still feel I am hearing some noise when our bands are playing, which means either the music we're playing is noisier or the mixing is a little inferior. I also believe we should really look at a permanent venue. By now, 25 years, 47 years as an independent nation, we are now a big man or a big woman. And now we should look at really getting a permanent venue like we did for the indoor facility in Massa for entertainment. I looked at in particular, the Newtown Savannah after one event. And if you look at it tomorrow, you'll understand what I mean by that. We are subjected to the weather. Thank God the stadium have some level of shelter and can accommodate the thousands. But I believe the vision should continue where we should try to identify some place.
And that was a Creole and Cultural Ambassador Leroy Wadix Charles. TK International keyboardist Jeffrey Joseph encouraged young artists to be professional and be serious about their craft.
So one of the things is that I always advise artists coming up is to do what you know is true to yourself, what you believe in as an artist. You know, there are a lot of artists that will do what the commercial space demands of them, because they figure, okay, I want to make it, I want to burst. So for me to burst, I have to I have to do this, I have to do that. But is that really the artist? You know what I mean? And then how long can you keep on doing that? Yep. You know, will you be able to really truly sustain it and really truly bring it out to your audience? Will they really resonate with you? Because are you just putting on a facade, or are you really bringing out something that is genuine to yourself? So that is what I think it needs to start with that. And then from that, you also need to ensure that your product in itself is something that is marketable. Is something that you recognize there is a market for, and you are targeting that market space, and you are presenting yourself with all the different paraphernalia that is required to put around it to that market. It is always wise and good to have yourself presented on a certain level. Don't try to be an international artist, but you present yourself as something else. You're an international artist, you want to be recognized on an international stage, and you put yourself on that level. And then when you get to that stage, it is, as I said before, it's not an automatic renewal of your contract. You know, you don't get there like you get a job in the government. Once they appoint you, that's it. No, every year you have to keep working on it.
And that was a TK International keyboardist, Jeffrey Joseph, taking us to the end of this evening's National Focus. Up next is news from the region and international.
Let's go! Turn your TV on. Listen to DBS on Digicel TV, Channel 50, and Flow TV, Channel 951.
DBS News.
And welcome back. Now, news from the region. Rescue teams in Suriname are continuing the search for 4 Guyanese nationals now feared dead after a fishing boat sank in the Saramacca River. The Saramacca River is regarded as a key waterway for the Maroon communities who live along its banks and who use it for transportation and trade. The police said they had received a report that a crew were floating on ice cubes. They said that the caller had indicated that people in the area had used their boats to search for the 4 people without success. The police public relations department said that the search is ongoing. Internationally, France's former president Nicolas Sarkozy began a 5-year sentence today for conspiring to raise campaign funds from Libya after arriving at La Santé prison in Paris in a stunning downfall for a man who had led his country between 2007 and 2012. Sarkozy is the first former head of an EU state to be jailed today, proclaiming his innocence as he entered a Paris prison. He was found guilty last month of seeking to acquire funding from Muammar Gaddafi's Libya for the campaign that saw him elected. Reporters heard convicts shouting from the cells, "Sarkozy's here," and "Welcome Sarkozy." However, in a defiant message posted on social media as he was being transferred, Sarkozy denied any wrongdoing. This brings us to the end of this evening's news. Up next is sports.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
And welcome to your DBS Evening Sports for today, Tuesday, October 21, 2025. First off, West Indies beat Bangladesh in a super over to stay alive in the one-day series. Bangladesh posted 213 for 7 in 50 overs, setting West Indies 214 to win. But West Indies managed 213 for 9 to tie the match. In the super over, West Indies made 10, but Bangladesh needed 3 off the final ball from Akil Hossain and got only 1.
Let's see. In he comes. 4 needed. Another wide. Incredible. Very much a possibility. The extra field that comes on the offside. It's an outside edge. It's straight to the fielder. And it's only a single. West Indies have finally managed to hang on and goes on to win in the super hour.
What a victory for the West Indies to keep the series alive. Only their 3rd victory away from home out of 13 matches, but it took us a super over to separate these 2 teams. Akil Hussain, the man of the moment, lots of errors in that super over, but he can smile now on a sigh of relief. No ball wides.
West Indies used a spin for the 50 overs of play and restricted Bangladesh to 213 for 7. Suma Sakar top scored with 45 for Bangladesh. Bowling for West Indies, Gudakesh Moti took 2 for 65. Alec Athanas picked up 2 for 14 and Akil Hossain 2 for 41. Athanas recorded the most economical spell by a visiting bowler in men's one-day international at the Mipur venue. West Indies at their turn at the crease posted 213 for 9. Shea Hope was not out on 53. Casey Carty added 35 and Alec Athanas 28. West Indies captain Shea Hope was named the player of the match. He said it was a tough match and they now have a chance to take the series in the final match.
Yeah, something to say about West Indies cricket. We always keep the fans on the seats. So it was a very good game. Hopefully, we could not make the next one so close. But yeah, very, very proud of the guys to pull this one back.
Absolutely. 1-1 series nicely was set for the last match. But just going through the innings, you must have been a tad disappointed after you had pegged down Bangladesh to a lowish kind of total, and that spurt from Rishad took them over the 200 mark.
Yeah, most definitely. We thought that we could have restricted them for, let's say, 160, 170 or so. It would have made batting a lot easier. But yeah, things like that happen. Guys play very well in the back end. So that's how cricket goes sometimes. But yeah, we were just happy to get this one. We fought really hard with the bat. It was very tough going once again. But I think the wicket played slightly better than the first one. But yeah, like I said before, I'm very proud of the guys and great to see us level this series.
And when you see a target of around the 213 mark, you're going to pace your innings. That's exactly what you did. And you had the support from other partners who seemed to be pretty happy with biding their time and picking their spots.
Yeah, it was a tricky chase. I thought in that instance there it was very important for us to make sure we try to keep as many wickets in hand. We certainly lost too many in the back end, and I was one to blame, running out Justin Graves at the back end. But I'm just happy that we got over the line, because I thought that dismissal there might have cost us. But yeah, we fought really hard for that one. I'm just happy for the batters to get over the line. Hopefully we can learn from this game, especially in the batting innings, and try to take those learnings into the next one.
West Indies captain Shea Hope. The third and final one-day international between West Indies and Bangladesh will be played on Thursday. Kicking into some football, Dante Warrington is looking forward to putting his best foot forward for the Dominica senior men's national football team as they ramp up preparation for the CONCACAF series in St. Kitts in November. Warrington, who had a brief stint in Barbados playing for the Barbados Soccer Academy, is back in training with the senior men's national football team. He spoke with DBS Sports editor Gavin Richards about his experience in Barbados and what he hopes to bring to the Dominica team.
All right, Dante Warrington, first night with the team, but as we always say, congratulations on the call-up. No stranger to the national team, but you've been based overseas for the past few months. Just give us a sense as to what you've been up to.
Well, Gavin, I just came from Barbados, playing a semi-professional league. Yeah, the Prime Minister Cup in Barbados. I was playing for Barbados Soccer Academy. Yeah, but we got knocked out in the group stage. Yeah, so I came down for the international duties.
All right, what was that experience like in Barbados?
Well, it was a great experience playing against Premier League clubs, big players. Yeah, I scored one goal in 3 matches. Yeah, it was a good experience, man. I learned a lot of new things.
What are some of the things that you think you might have learned on?
Well, honestly, my fitness level, and my standard of my play.
All right, and where do you go to next? What's your next engagement with the club?
Well, honestly, I feel I'll be there in January. So after the national duties, I'll be back in Barbados, playing the Division 1.
All right, so in terms of the excitement that you hope to bring to the national team, because you were setting the National League ablaze with Petro Caribbean Point Michelle and Promex Harlem earlier on. So, what do you hope to bring to this national team now?
Well, I look to bring my talent, my hard work, a lot of goals, a lot of plays, man. Yeah, I leave Harlem, but people thought I wouldn't score goals when I go to Point Michelle, but I score a lot of goals too.
All right, and coming up against, the likes of St. Martin, Dutch St. Martin, French St. Martin, Belize St. Kitts, what would be the message to the guys? Like I said, you're no stranger to the national team, but it's another big challenge with a little bit of time to prepare. So how will you guys be approaching that?
Well, honestly, I feel we have a good team, and once we train and we do what the coaches ask, we'll execute the plan.
All right, Dante, thank you very much and all the best. Any final words to the Dominican people?
Well, I just ask for the support, even if the game's not in Dominica. Just support. Watch us on TV. Support us. Yeah, be positive.
And that was the national footballer, Dante Warrington. Meanwhile, the Dominica Football Association is informing all clubs, players and officials and fans that in observance of the ongoing independence celebrations, all matches organized by the DFA have been temporarily suspended. In a statement, the DFA says this short break allows everyone within the football community to fully participate in and enjoy the national festivities that celebrate Dominica's rich culture and heritage. The resumption date for matches will be announced in due course. Keeping on field with football, 3 matches were played on Monday in the Sports Division Secondary Schools football competition in the Under-17 division. In Game 1 of the doubleheader in Stock Farm, Dominica Grammar School defeated Portsmouth Secondary School 5-1. Khalid Privo and Jay and Lockhart scored 2 goals each, and Dwight Walsh won for DGS. Jaden Thomas scored the lone goal for Portsmouth Secondary School. In Game 2, St. Mary's Academy edged out Goodall Secondary School by 1-0, with Montel Joseph getting the winner for St. Mary's Academy. Over at Benjamin's Park in Portsmouth, Casterbridge Secondary School defeated Northeast Comprehensive School 8-0. Taran George scored 4 goals. Roxanne Coppell 3 goals, and Caleb Dangleben scored 1 goal for Casterbridge Secondary School. Bowling into some women's cricket, the West Indies women's senior team has begun an intensive 8-week training camp in Antigua as they prepare for a landmark year in 2026 featuring 6 tours, 15 ODIs, a test match and the ICC Women's T20 World Cup. The camp, which started on October 20th, is designed to lay a strong foundation as the Maroon Warriors gear up for a demanding international schedule. Approximately 20 senior squad members are in camp with the goal of having the full group fully participate by the end of year to sustain peak performance, particularly for the World Cup. The West Indies women's head coach Shane Dites highlighted the importance of this training camp.
Massive year. The World Cup is probably like the pinnacle for our team. Our last World Cup we got to the semi-final, so we want to go one better. And obviously we've got 15 ODIs and a test match. So it's going to be a really big year, busy year. So the main area we've got to get right is our strength and conditioning and our team fitness. And we need fast, athletic and robust cricketers who can play the style of cricket we want to play and entertain the crowds, put on a massive show and win lots of games, but also stay fit and healthy through a tough period. We've got a lot of younger players coming in, so their levels of strength and conditioning is not quite where it needs to be, and we've got a lot of older ones we've got to manage through that period. So there's a bit of a mix of different type of players, so we've got to get that right. So, we're ready for a big year to, once our performance and the strength and conditioning side of things is perfect, and also, as I said, be able to last the whole year, the rigours of touring and training every day. The players have got to be real strong and get through all that. The original plan was about 11 or 12. So 8 weeks, we've still got a lot of opportunity to get players, where we need to get them to be. We did a bit of work before the CPL here in Antigua, and then the girls went and played the WCPL, and now they've done some work on their own, and now they're coming here ready to go for a really tough 8 weeks.
West Indies women's head coach Shane Dites. And bouncing into some basketball, it's an all-North showdown in the DABA National Basketball League 2025 Grand Finals as the Paybush Super Eagles face off against the BAA Sharks of Benz. A new champion will be crowned this year with both highly energized teams promising an action-packed series at the Massac Indoor facility. The best-of-5 finals are expected to begin around November 1st following the Curl festivities. Basketball coach and youth sports advocate Dustin Maggie Peters, speaking of DBS Sports, encourage fans to show full support for what's expected to be an electrifying North versus North battle.
Well, it's an all-North playoff affair in the DABA National Basketball League 2025 the Grand Finals. It's going to be 2 teams from the North from the Premier Division, and that's going to be the Paybush Super Eagles versus the BAA Sharks, the Sharks from Benz, Antime and Solda. The new champion is going to be crowned this year, and it's going to be from the North side, one way or the other. And it's 2 very energetic teams, 2 very high energy, high powered, high shooting, high flying, high wire. So it's going to be exciting playoffs at the Massac Indoor facility. The finals is going to begin after the festival. Date hasn't been set, but just stay tuned. Looking at November 1st, which will be the Saturday. Best of 5 series, so first team to 3. So trust me, it's going to be very, very exciting. Just want to invite everybody to come down down to the Master Kingdom facility, fill up the place, and it's going to be very exciting.
Coach and youth sports advocate Dustin Maggie Peters. Meantime, Mr. Peters, who also coaches football, expressed gratitude to former SMA alumni for donating over 70 pairs of football shoes to high school and primary school players. He said the gesture supports youth development and urged other alumni groups to follow suit in inspiring young athletes. As this brings us to the end of this evening's news and sports. A special thanks to the DBS News and Sports team and link personnel, DJ Hillboy.